Good evening. This is Zoe Burgess, your city clerk. This meeting is being held with a quorum of city council members physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Mayor Roger Manning, Councilman Patrick Paul, Councilman John Paul O'Connor are present physically. Councilwoman Kara Crump and Vice Mayor Katrina Long Robinson will be attending via communications technology. City Attorney Pam Booker and City Manager Kenneth Castle are physically in attendance. City Clerk Zoe Burgess is attending via communications media technology. Public comments are accepted at least 24 hours prior to the meeting utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are also permitted at the appropriate time during the meeting. During the public comment section of the agenda, you may participate at this time utilizing the system's virtual hand feature, waiting to be acknowledged if you wish to comment. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. However, you can unmute yourself. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed from the meeting. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please utilize microphones so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. Thank you. Mayor Manning?
Yes. I'd like to call over the final public budget hearing for the City of Westlake at 6:32 p.m. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 2020-69 as extended by Executive Order 20-179 and is adopted by the City of Westlake Council in Emergency Ordinance 2020-08. Due to COVID and the need to ensure public health, safety, and welfare, this meeting may be conducted without a quorum of its members present physically or in any specific location and utilizing communications media technology such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120.54 5B2 Florida statutes. City Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Councilman John Paul O'Connor.
Present.
Councilwoman Kara Crump.
Present.
Councilman Patrick Paul.
Present.
Vice Mayor Katrina Long Robinson.
Present.
Mayor Roger Manning.
Present.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, short agenda tonight.
Yes, sir. Why?
Okay, public hearing.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, what you have before you is the second reading of the public budget that was discussed last Monday and approved on first reading. This is the final budget. There have been no changes in the document.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Okay, so do we have any questions from the council?
So there's no changes. We could pretty much.
If there is, I know that Councilman Paul would know what those are. So I'll ask you, are there any changes in this?
I did not find yellow.
Glad you're looking.
Last week I just asked that we get a bunch of meetings, prior to all this and ample time to discuss all that. For that last change, while it didn't make me happy, it's the thing I can live with it. But it is passion. So I'm not going to call off God again.
Ken, I do have one question, and I know I wasn't at the first one. Based on your experience as manager, if we were a city that was, and I apologize to council if this question was asked last meeting, I do apologize. If we were a self-sufficient city, would we be able to afford each of the departments' budgets that's currently in place?
When our tax base was at a point, yes. Right now, we would not be able to if we were not backstopped by the developer, because our tax base does not cover but about $1 million of the $4 million or over that is there. The planning and zoning, building departments are self-sufficient on theirs, but the rest of us, we would be short when you put the other departments together.
Based on your meetings, and Mayor, I know you've probably been jumping on those meetings as well. Based on your meetings as it relates to COVID, our current economy, as a manager, fiscal guy, where do you foresee municipal budgets within the next couple of years? Are they going to be strong? Are they going to be weak?
There will be ripple effect. We will have to make sure that we monitor all of our expenditures and keep them to a minimum, keep our expansion to a minimum. Our biggest key is the quicker we get some more commercial in here, the better off we're going to be. We close that gap. You know, with Publix coming in, with the 2 7-Elevens coming in, the faster they get on the tax roll, that's a big help. If we get some more commercial rolling in quickly after that, again, it's an assistance to the tax roll. That is our biggest key right now. Depending strictly on single-family homes to cover the lion's share of the tax base will never cut it. Any city that tries that is up for a long, slow, painful disaster.
My last question, based on, I know you meet with managers all the time, based on other municipalities, have you seen any, and I've heard several, but are most municipalities cutting from budgets, or how are most municipalities doing as relates to their budgets? We're trying to save funds.
There's been a number of approaches. Some of the cities figured out when they sent everybody home for COVID that they were overstaffed by 5 to 15%, so they've cut staffing levels to cut their budgets. Others have looked at their revenue streams from sales tax, which they decreased quite a bit. What they've also done with that is they had reserves that they had built up over time. They also had construction budgets or items that were earmarked to be constructed or to be done, and they're putting those on hold. The long-term impact of this is not this year, next year. It's the year 3, 4, 5, and 6 where all of the municipalities are going to see an even more tightening of their budgets.
And when did Minto say they would? Can you remind us of the year Minto will no longer carry the city?
I believe right now it's 2023.
2023. Okay.
We're rather unique though.
Correct.
In our situation. We started out with nothing. We weren't getting any tax revenue to start with. So it's not like we started out with a pot and we had a big expense with employees and departments and that stuff to start with. So we're not in a when we need to roll back. Fortunately, the sales have kept up in Westlake ahead of the rest that are around. And one of the projections was that we have 600 homes by 2021.
Right.
We already have 529 CO'd with another 24 that are temporary CO'd, which was in your report last Friday. And then
sure, no, I understand that. My concern is, or not necessarily a concern, but we didn't sell any commercial in 2020. So I'm just kind of looking at the future with what other municipalities were doing and just trying to make sure we're aligned. And you know, we people want commercial, and it's been hard to sell to businesses and things of that nature. But no, I understand, Mayor. I just wanted to get clarification from Ken on a couple of things.
And as the mayor stated, one of the things in discussions with other city managers is they look at us and they say, gee, I kind of wish I was in your shoes.
Yeah.
Because we're growing at a pace that outgoes anybody in the state, which is a good thing. But at the same time, we're watching our expenditures so that we don't fall into the trap that most places fall into when they're growing like crazy, they spend like crazy. Then when you have to tighten your belt, you're really hurting. So we're monitoring those expenses, trying to minimize staffing levels, working staff to the maximum, trying to make most efficiency out, leveraging everything we can leverage. And I am looking very hard at the 2023, knowing that if 7-Eleven comes out and Publix come out, finishes this year, by the end of this year, they will not show on our taxes till the following year. So you have a lead, almost a year lag on some of these properties, which is why I keep trying to push internally. When we get an application for commercial, push it as hard as we can through the system, because the faster they get built, the faster we get tax base, which is a key to us, our survival.
One of the other things that happened in this budget is, if you'll notice on page 19, the developer contribution's gone down $445,337 in your projection.
Correct.
So that's a significant, that's close to $500,000 less of the developers towards the budget this year. So
Because our taxable value almost doubled and risen. So last year we generated a little over $500,000 in ad valorem taxes. This year we generated a little over $1.1 million. So with that kind of growth rate, if we keep that up and it's a sustained growth rate, we should be closer to our needs and stuff by the 2023.
Pam, I have a question for you. For your budget at 529, the funds that you are asking for the position, or just those extra funds, if you do not use these funds, are you willing to allow those funds to go into the general account budget, back into that general account budget, if we see in 2021 that we are not selling commercial as we thought we would?
Those funds will stay there if they're not used. They're allocated for outside services, should that be needed, or litigation, if that comes up. If none of that occurs, you get to decide on this budget again next year. And we'll see if we still need those reserves for future anticipated litigation for the following year. So that money doesn't get spent if it's not utilized for the purposes we discussed at the first budget hearing.
Okay.
we have a similar for 90,000.
Or additional personnel if
Right.
necessary again.
Right.
You know, not having a crystal ball, you gotta put a placeholder in there for those kind of items.
Right. Absolutely. There are places.
Better to budget for it not needed than not budget for it needed.
So I completely recognize that we're a city in its absolute growth, phase. And some of these budget line items, I could only hope will eventually go down when we're no longer in our uber growth phase of the city. That being said, I very much look forward to the day when we can stand on our own feet as a city and not have to rely on any kind of a developer contribution. To see some of these line items go down next year.
Yeah. Well, we still have a city hall to build at some point here too, and it's going to cost money. And when the developer is out, this trailer is not going to be sitting here forever. It's going to die. So we're going to need a place. We're going to need a home. Um, there's the accommodations are fine for now, but, it won't be long.
With you.
We don't have anything budgeted for that. Absolutely zero at this point. We got a promise, well, we got a hope and a promise, yeah, for some land and some soft costs, but it's gonna take more than that. Do we have any other discussion on the budget? We just need a
So it'd be a motion
motion.
for resolution 2020-29, adopting the final millage rate for fiscal year 2021 would be a first
I'm
action.
gonna do that first.
I'll make the motion.
We'll read it by title, the motion, please.
I'm sorry, Mayor. If I can read it by title, and then if you can open it up for public hearing for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
A resolution of the City Council for the City of Westlake, Florida, adopting the final ad valorem millage rate to be levied for the fiscal year beginning on October 1, 2020, and ending on September 30th, 2021.
Okay.
I received no public comments prior to.
Okay.
I'll give the audience a moment. Please raise your virtual hands or unmute your microphones. Please state your name and address. Are there any public comments? You may raise your virtual hands or unmute your microphones. Please state your name and address. I see no virtual hands, Mayor.
Section 1. Millage rate will be
Okay.
5.12.
I'll just read for the record that the final ad valorem millage rate of $1,000 of assessed value for the real and personal property value as established by the Palm Beach County property appraiser for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2020 and ending on September 30th, 2021 is hereby set at 5.125 mils. Okay, there being no further comments, is there any comments from the staff?
I have no further comments.
Are there any questions or comments from the council? Resolution?
Happy to keep.
Okay, we have a motion.
I will make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-29, millage rate of 5.5 mils for 2021.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Councilman O'Connor, seconded by Councilwoman Crump. Roll call. Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crump.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Paul.
Yes.
Mayor Manning.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay. We'll go on to item C, 2020-30, adopting the final budget for fiscal year 2021. City Clerk, please read by title.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, adopting the final budget for the City of Westlake, Florida, and making an appropriation for the fiscal year beginning on October 1, 2020, and ending on September 30th, 2021. Mayor, there were no previous comment cards received. I'll give the audience a moment. Please raise your virtual hands. If you're unable to do so, please unmute your microphones. Please state your name and address. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. or please unmute your microphone. Please state your name and address. I see no comments, Mayor.
You, there being no further comments, do we have any comments from the council? If there are no further comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the budget.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Paul, seconded by Councilman O'Connor. Roll call vote. Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Mayor Manning.
Yes.
Councilman Paul.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Long Robinson.
No.
Councilwoman Crump.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
Having no more further business, then we will adjourn at 6:51 p.m.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
There's my notes.
I signed them.
Otherwise, they'll hang.
I know, I got her message, but I'm not letting me leave.